text that I've never, ever preached before. Isn't that awesome? So we're going to see how it works. I might not ever preach them again. But we're going to see. We're going to begin at verse 2 of 1 Samuel 14. I want to go all the way back to verse 2. I'm going to read a lot of it. The word of God says, Saul was remaining in the outskirts of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree in Migron. And with him were about 600 men. And Ahijah, not Ahio, and Ahitub, Ichabod's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Shiloh, was wearing the ephod. And the people did not know that Jonathan was gone. Sometimes you need to learn how to make moves that everybody doesn't see. Before I go even further, I think we make too much noise when we're making moves. I want to encourage somebody that's sitting here right now. Maybe some of the reasons why you keep having adversities is because you keep telling your adversaries that you're moving. Maybe if you stop talking so much and moved more than you talked, you would be walking in your purpose. But maybe the reason why you got so many enemies is because you don't know how to keep quiet. I'm already preaching. Between the passes by which Jonathan sought to go over to the Philistine garrison, there was a rocky crag on the one side and a rocky crag on the other side, one named Bozez and the other named Seneh. The one crag rose on the north in the front of Michmash, and the other on the south front of Geba. And Jonathan said to his young armor-bearer, "Come, let us go over the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us." Come on. For there is nothing to prevent the Lord from saving by many or by few. I love that. I'm coming back there. And his armor-bearer said to him, "Do all that is in your mind. I am with you in whatever you think best." I am so grateful that God will assign people in our lives that will roll with us, that will flow with us. See, I had you bring your family and friends because you need to turn to them real quick and say, "Thank you for rolling with me." Because you need somebody that's going to be on your side that's going to say, whatever you decide to do, I got you. Wherever you decide to go, I'm with you. Because some folk, when you're going in a place that they're not comfortable to go, they'll tell you, "Peace. I'll catch you when you come back." But I need some folk that's going to ride with me. Listen, I'm getting too old. I'm 54 years old. I know I don't look it. I know that tripped most of y'all out. But I realized a long time ago that I don't have time to convince people to go with me. Either you with me or you're not. Either you trust me or you don't. Either you stand with me or you can't. But those who ready to go, I need some folk that got that whatever. Like, I tell you, here we're going this way. Whatever you want to do. See, Jonathan had his armor bearer, and his armor bearer was like, whatever is on your heart and on your mind, I'm trusting you. I'm rolling with you. Jonathan said, "We will pass over to these men, and we will let them see us. If they say to us, 'Wait until we come to you,' then we will stand still in our place and will not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come up to us,' we will go up. For the Lord has delivered them into our hands, and this will be our sign." So both of them let the Philistine garrison see them, and the Philistines said, "Behold, the Hebrews are coming out of the holes where they were hidden themselves." The garrison men said to Jonathan and his armor bearer, "Come up to us, and we will show you a thing." I mean, for real? You calling us up? Somebody just yell, "Let's go." I mean, if you're going to call us up, if you're going to put that call on my life, then I'm ready to go. I told you, if them jokers, I almost said something, if them jokers had called us up, we going. That's what Jonathan said. And they said, "Come up to see a thing. We're going to show you a thing." Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Come up after me, for the Lord has given them into Israel's hands." Jonathan climbed up on his hands and his feet, his armor bearer after him. And the enemy fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer killed them after him. And that first slaughter, first one, because if there's a first one, there got to be a second one, and maybe a third one. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men within about a half acre of land, which a yoke of oxen might plow. And there was trembling and panic in the Philistine camp in the field. And among all the men, the garrison and even the raiders trembled. The earth quaked, and it became a terror from God. Saul's watchmen in Gibeah and Benjamin looked, and behold, the multitude melted away, and hither and thither. Then Saul said to the men with him, number and see who is gone from us. When they numbered, behold, Jonathan and his armor bearer were missing. Missing. Tap somebody, just tell them, missing in action. Sometimes I'm missing, but I'm not missing because I'm missing. Sometimes I'm missing because I'm on a mission. So let's go back to it. Let's understand what happened. So if you read chapter 13, ever read chapter 13, you would understand that Saul was really the leader, but he panicked. He was trying to move outside of God. He wasn't trying to wait on God. He was trying to put up the sacrifices that Samuel was supposed to put up, and he couldn't wait. And sometimes we get impatient and we get anxious because we get scared. And we move out of the sync of God, out of being in sync with God. We move on our own will. We don't move because God said. We move because we feel a type of way. And sometimes when you move out of anxiety, you miss God. And these folk miss God. But Jonathan was not moved by his feeling. He was moved by his faith. He started assessing the situation and seeing that though these Philistines were the army, they were nothing compared to God. And so his question was, God, do you have me? He trusted in God. He believed in God. He leaned on God, but he needed somebody to roll with him. Sometimes you need to assess your friends group and to see who can roll with you and who needs to stay home. Because not everybody, watch this, not everybody in the group chat is in the group. You can't send the same message to everybody because everybody don't have the same faith. So you need to learn how to assess the people that's got that ride or die mentality. That's really to roll with you. So Jonathan grabbed his armor bearer because he trusted him. He knew that he would hold him up. And he asked him, armor bearer, are you with me? And his armor bearer said, however you feel, whatever you feel, I got you. Not whatever I feel, whatever you feel, I got you. And Jonathan says, let's go. He said to his armor bearer, back to verse 6 again, let us go over to the garrison of these uncircumcised. In other words, these folk that ain't in covenant with God. See, it might be a lot of them, but they don't have the same God we got. They got other gods, plural, but they don't have Yahweh. They don't have Jehovah Jireh. They got a counterfeit. And he says to them, it may be that the Lord will work for us because God is at work for us. When we work with God, God works for us. He is working on our behalf. And he says, for there is nothing to prevent the Lord from saving by many or by few. In other words, stop counting how many people are with you and start figuring out who you can count on. Because God does not need a lot to get things accomplished. Sometimes that's why we don't call it the fearful few. We call them the faithful few. Sometimes I need people that's rolling with me that's rolling with God. He said God can save by many or by a few. And in this case, it wasn't even a few. It was just two. Just the two of us. We can make it. See, look at y'all. You and, come on, y'all. So there is nothing preventing the Lord from doing it with a lot or a few. sometimes you got to know you're going up with your friends. That real friends don't want to go up by themselves. Real friends want to pull you up as they go up. That's how you understand when you're in covenant with somebody and not in competition. Tell somebody, I need covenant, not competition. Because far too often we got competition. We got people that are competing for success. In other words, I need people that are in covenant with me so that we both can be successful. Let's go up together. Push on somebody. Let's go up together. Today is the day we start to level up together. We're leveling up together. We're growing together. Success is our portion. Healing is our portion. Somebody yell together. Now I'm going to take a pause for the cause real quick and tell you about this togetherness. About 9 days ago, I was on Power Burst on Friday. The Friday before last was Faith and Favor Friday, and I was talking about the power of now. The power of now and declaring. I said within that time, I said because I knew what one of our members was going through, I said, listen, you got to believe God to the point where your kidney donor is already making a phone call for you. Last Friday. This past Friday, one of our members who I was prophesying to had been on the waiting list. She thought it was going to be years. They called her on Friday and said, your kidney is ready. I talked to her Friday afternoon, prayed with her Friday afternoon, and yesterday at U of M Hospital, she got her new kidney. Y'all ain't talking back to me. When we go up together. When we are healed. Tell somebody, let's go up. I'm talking to her on the phone. She's crying. She's shouting, hallelujah. I don't know whose hallelujah was louder, mine or hers. But I remembered, and I instantly went back to that taping. I taped it. I sent it to her. She sent it to her family. She said, look at God. Because if any two can agree as touching, God will be there in the midst and give them what they prayed for. I wish I had some help in here. My God, my God, my God, my God. Yes, won't he do it? So, when you make that plea, your folks should respond like the armor bearer did. He says, I'm with you in whatever you think is best. Why? Not just because you my guy, but because you follow God. Because you follow God. And then Jonathan tells him, we're going to pass by. We're going to climb up and get into this crevice that is not conducive for a lot of people. So God gave him a strategy in how to fight. He did not only tell him you're going to go up, but I'm going to give you a strategy when you get there. Some of us don't wait on the strategy. We just want to go up. But God said, when you get up there, you got to have something to do when you get up there. And some of us, we struggle because we don't wait on the strategy. We just ready to go. So when God gives them a strategy and tells them, sometimes you got to go up and then wait. You got to wait before you go up. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see how the enemy is moving. Watch as well as pray. So they both look at the garrison. They look at this army, and they look and see what's going on. And Jonathan said, if they call us up, then we're going up. If they don't call us up, then we'll stay where we are. Then I don't know if God is giving it to us. So sometimes God is going to call you to level up even before you fight. Sometimes the level up happens before the fight. We think the level up happens after the fight. Sometimes God is calling you to the next level, and at that new level, there's a new devil. And when you get leveled up, there is a deviled up too. And sometimes you got to fight that devil on that new level. But trust that God has still got you. Even if it's a tight situation, So when they go up to the next level, there is this tight situation that they have to maneuver through. Sometimes when things get tight, that's when our fight or flight kicks in. And too many of us are on the flight side. We run away when things get tight. When things get less comfortable. We think when we go to the next level, everything will be more comfortable. Sometimes we get to the next level, it's less comfortable. There's some discomfort. There's some struggle. But the struggle is worth it because God has called you to another level. So when you get leveled up, you got to work harder. When you get leveled up, you got to trust better. That's why everybody can't level up with you. That's why out of 600 folk, he only could find one. Because not everybody is willing to go up with you. Not everybody is willing to fight with you when you go up. So sometimes you need to leave some people on the ground. Some people can't go up with you. Look around, look at your neighbor, look at your friends that you brought with them. Just say, I thank God for you. Because if you can come to church with me, that means you can level up with me. If you follow me with the same God that I serve, that means we can go up together. But if you struggle and even trust in God, then I can't take you with me. So, I love what happens next. So they go up, they're called up, not called out. Because you don't respond to every call out. But you should respond to every call up. Because everybody's going to have something to say about you. And you don't have to respond to everything everybody says. But when it's your assignment and it's your task and God is calling you up, you got to be willing to climb. And what happened? Jonathan didn't climb with just his hands. He climbed with his hands and feet. He put his all into the climb. And so did his armor bearer. You cannot go up with people who aren't as invested as you are. Because what'll end up happening is they'll give out and climb on your back. And now you're climbing up with double the weight because you were not discerning enough to assess whether the person that was going with you was going to make their own climb. Have you ever been there before? Where you going up with somebody you thought was going to do the same amount of climbing as you, but then when it got a little bit difficult, they was like, I can't make it and climb on your back. So now you're carrying their weight and your weight too. And so now you're carrying their weight and your weight too, trying to get to the next level. And it's a struggle, but that's not what happened with Jonathan. Because Jonathan was more discerning. Because he trusted who he was going up with. And who he's going with was willing to give the same effort, the same intensity. The same intensity. The same intensity. Because you need people that have the same intensity that you do. Sometimes we have people that are just, they'll move on their own time, at their own pace, and you have to slow down to wait for them. And sometimes when you're waiting on people, the opportunity doesn't wait on you. Who are you going up with? I hear my other mom in the building. I can't see, but I know I hear her voice. You go up together. And you trust God together. And you believe God and you put the whole intention and effort in together. I shouldn't have to be your cheerleader while I'm climbing. You said you was going with me. So now I got to stop and do a cheer with one hand on the rock and one hand holding pom-poms. And I'm talking about, oh, look at you. Come on, you can do it, girl. Get up here, girl. Come on, girl. No. We climbing. I don't have time to cheer. Do you see where we need to go? You want me to turn around and look down at you? And then we both lose our grips and plummet. Then we got to start over. because I chose the wrong Negro. Tell somebody, watch who you choose. I mean, I grew up in the 90s. I mean, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think I'll get with this because this is engine number 9 on the, oh, sorry. I can't step out of myself. Because if my train falls off the track, pick it. Yeah. You're like, back on the scene, crispy and clean. So I need to know if it's this or if it's that. Because sometimes I pick that over this, and then that gives me trouble. That gives me more of a struggle. That costs me more. Sometimes certain relationships just cost you more. And if I'm carrying you while I'm trying to climb, I would do better if you didn't even come. I could have done better if you just chose to tell me no down here than changing your mind from yes to no. I'm ready to grab this final rock, and you're like, nah. Let me get on your back now. It's like, we got one more step. Yeah, but, I ain't signed up for all of this. Yes, you did when you said, I got you. You didn't tell me there were parameters around I got you, that there were conditions around I got you. You didn't tell me you got me until that there was expiration date on our friendship, that there was expiration date on our covenant. Because if I'd known it was going to expire in a certain amount of time, then you wouldn't have been my choice. Because you can get with this or you can get with. But while we're climbing, because he chose right, while they were climbing, the other Philistines tried to follow them and couldn't. And they fell because they weren't anointed for that level. God is going to take you to levels that other people aren't anointed for. And you can't be hurt when other folk fall when you soar because they don't have what you have. You should shout right now about God giving you what is yours. You should be shouting right now that God connected you with the right covenant of people, that God has assigned people to your life that's going to climb with you, and God is giving you the ability to hold on when others will let go. They held on where others let go. They held on where others will let go. So you can't get your feelings hurt when other people can't hold on to you. Because not everybody is anointed for that level. They were anointed for that level, but they didn't have enough oil to go up. And so when you are up there, it is rarefied air. Not everybody can breathe it. Because some of them fell because they couldn't breathe the air. They could not breathe the air. Some of them fell because they did not have a strong enough of a grip. Some of them fell because they get lightheaded. Some of them fell because they're scared of heights. You're scared of the next level. You got level phobia. Whenever God is calling you to the next level, you get scared. Whatever it was, the Philistines weren't anointed for that level. And they failed to a great degree. They kept falling, and kept falling. In verse 15, and I'm done. And there was trembling and panic in the Philistine camp when they saw that they couldn't hold on. They got afraid. And it was just Jonathan and his armor bearer. It wasn't a lot of people. They went up because they were called upon to go up. And while they were up there, the rest of the army against them began to fall. So much so that this fear and panic hit the entire army. And the Bible says, and when these raiders trembled, the earth quaked. God shook everything up when Jonathan and his armor bearer went up by faith. Sometimes your faith, when faith is demonstrated, when faith is executed, it shakes everything up. Come on, touch three people, tell them this. Get ready for the shakeup. Yeah, get ready for the shakeup. Get ready for the shakeup. Because as you're climbing to that next level, you got to prepare for the shakeup. God is going to shake some stuff up. He's going to shake some staff up. He's going to shake some leaders up. He's going to shake some members up. And not everybody can handle the shakeup. But God has anointed you to handle the shakeup. God has anointed you to move by his spirit. God has anointed you for the shakeup. Tell somebody, I'm anointed for the shakeup. Because God will shake you up from one team to another team. God will move you from one team to another team. Where you thought you was going to wear that jersey, God will shift it and give you a new jersey. God will upgrade you when you're willing to step out on faith. My faith, tell somebody, my faith is unshakable. No, I need you to qualify that. No, let's say that again. Look down your row and say, our faith is unshakable. Listen, I told Tarana, because that's our member who successfully had her kidney transplant yesterday. I told her, because there was a day, and I know many of you remember, I told you, I don't care how big of a thing you're believing God for, put it in the chat. And she was bold enough to put it in the chat. I said, now we're going to all agree on what everybody is placing in the chat. And I'm telling you, as sure as I'm standing here today, when I saw that, the very first person I reached out to was Danielle. I reached out to my baby. I said, baby, do you know what just happened? And I sent her the video, and we were just outdone that God did it the way God does it. It's because when we can believe God that we're going up together, that the enemy can't go where we're going, and that the enemy will fall when we rise, let the church rise. Let the church rise from the ashes. Let the church rise. And I'm believing God with you. You who came in here today with your family and friends, God did not bring you in here with your family and friends for you to fall. But God brought you here for you to fly. For you to climb. For you to climb to the next level. Everyone standing. Everyone standing. Listen. I need to push on you today. Because I need to tell you something before they sing even a note. That some of you came in here today just based on an invitation, and you just thought you were just coming to church with your family and friends. What you did not know, that while you were sitting there, God was calling you to another level.